Hey, and thank you very much for joining us here once again, revisiting the Mania while we revisit WrestleMania 7 today. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria.
And with us is another guest from Podcast Championship Wrestling, Doyle.
Oh, it's me. It's the Doyle.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Privileged to be here talking about WrestleMania VII.
Yes. For people that may be watching this that do not have any idea what VII means,
Roman numerals?
Those are Roman numerals. The V stands for 5, and the II, one single I, is 1. So together makes 7.
Oh.
See, I acknowledge Roman numerals.
Yes.
Math.
The only Roman numeral or Roman adjacent.
The only Roman I acknowledge.
There you go. I was trying to get that out. Now, Doyle, what was your first introduction to wrestling?
I'm not 100% sure, which is to say that it was a very long time ago. I think it probably had something to do with Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, and MTV.
Wow.
Okay, so it was either one of the Rock and Jock.
Yeah, and I was really into the cartoon.
Okay.
In the 80s. So it was pretty early. I maybe by the time WrestleMania 7 comes around, I am a full.
You're committed.
Every week,
watching Saturday Wrestle Stars or Superstars, whatever. Okay.
And I must have rented this one 50 times.
Yeah, looking this over, I am realizing there are a lot of matches that I actually end up liking, and we'll get into that a little bit deeper. Do you remember your first WrestleMania that you maybe saw live and not on videotape?
The first one I saw live was maybe 9.
Okay.
Is that the one?
I think that's the Caesar Palace one.
What's the one where Papa Shango's late? Was that 8?
I think that's 8, yeah.
I think, okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 9. 9 was the one, the first one I saw. You're right, the Caesar Palace. And somebody comes out at the end of that one also.
Yeah.
Yes, it was 9.
Okay. Nice. So
this one I saw on videotape many, many times. But probably hadn't sat down and watched in easily 25 years.
Yeah, I remember watching this one live, but once again, this is in 91, so I'm still kind of like not remembering everything, but just bits and pieces. Like I remember the Heart Foundation match. I remember the blindfold quote unquote match.
Right.
I remember the last one, Hogan versus and I remember the Macho Man, but I don't remember all the other ones. So it's always nice to like see them and then try to get into my head of who I was rooting for, and like
a lot of them I definitely did not remember. Some of them I did, and some of them I did not. And some of them I had much fonder memories of than they deserved, and some the opposite actually.
Yeah,
that's how it happens. Memories.
Yeah, the main event, I was like, this is going to be fucking horrible. And it's not very good, but it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, compared to the last one, I was actually like pretty pleased with this one because the last one was kind of a letdown. So
I mean,
you like this better than Warrior Hogan?
I really did, but I don't want to spoil it as far as who I was rooting for. But yeah, I was like, I thought this one was better than that last that final match.
All right.
So Maria, let's go ahead and recap what, after the events of WrestleMania 6.
Okay.
So the Warrior becomes the champion rather than have him hold 2 belts, which is something that might, I think it happen later on, Doyle? Someone holds 2 belts for a while.
Well, Rollins
Jericho, right?
US championship.
Okay.
Yeah, Rollins definitely had the U.S. championship and the heavyweight championship.
Kurt had both of them, right? He had like European and.
He might have, yeah.
Yeah.
But they also, I think they merged the IC and the European at some point.
Yeah. So Vince is not having it, and he's like, we got to have a tournament for the Intercontinental Championship, which ends up being held at the Superstars Wrestling and the Wrestling Challenge Perfect and Tito Santana end up being in the final, and Mr. Perfect wins, obviously, because we get Mr. Perfect in this one defending his title.
Mhm.
This is the first WrestleMania without my wife's favorite wrestler, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So unfortunately,
Also,
that happens for her.
our
And
color commentator is missing too.
yeah, but the barber's missing pretty much because this is when he has that parasailing accident that we tell you.
Oh yes, I remember you guys talking about
like
that.
the summer before, after SummerSlam.
Right.
With this one, no, we won't have to get to that. Hulk Hogan takes a little hiatus, goes to wrestle in Japan. I think is this when he has that match with Inoki and he starts trying to do chain wrestling with him.
It might be. There's a lot of back and forth with Japan at this point. I have a couple interesting little tidbits about that for later.
Ooh, what is chain wrestling for those of us who don't know?
Chain wrestling is mostly wrestling that comes from like either you grab an arm and you start like doing like twists, and then there's like somersaults and things like that, but you kind of like hold on to that person.
Okay.
And then someone flips the other person over or vice versa. It's just like all of the moves are like back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. Okay.
But
that's good to know.
in like Japanese wrestling, they've also adopted that as part of some of the like the smaller wrestlers type of move sets.
So chain wrestling, much like chainmail,
I guess.
Do y'all remember those
chainmail armor, like that Under Armour that like you're talking about, or are you talking about like chain letters?
Yeah, chain letters. That's what I was thinking about.
Like the round table shit as well.
I was like old enough to remember those chain letters where you get one and then you have to send it to 12 of your people.
Yeah. I remember that.
Don't start that back up if you're hearing this now or you're watching this now.
All right. So that kind of wraps up.
This would have been the chain letter era.
Yeah.
So that was still definitely going on in 1991, I think.
You are right. Yes.
So this eventually, there's nothing more that comes out from that besides, Brutus actually being hurt. Everything else, I'll just update you because there are some like kind of roster updates.
Okay.
That you'll see and when you probably have questions of. WrestleMania 7 is in the LA Sports Complex Arena. Yeah, but it's Los Angeles, so it's the second WrestleMania technically to take place at a Los Angeles venue.
Right.
The second one being WrestleMania 2 when it was held in 3 different cities.
Okay.
We have Willie Nelson.
Oh, whoa! I need to stop you before we get to Willie.
Okay.
You guys watch WrestleMania 6, which had a match cut out of it, right?
Yeah, this one also has a non-televised match.
Sure, but it also has a commercial for WrestleMania 7 in the LA Coliseum.
Oh, Coliseum.
Which holds 100,000 people.
Yeah, they didn't have it there.
The sports arena held 16,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, the reason they stated that for the venue change was that they were so afraid of security for Sergeant Slaughter.
Wow.
That there were going to be snipers and death threats and whatever. But the real reason was they couldn't sell 100,000 tickets. Not at this time, anyway. Business, the golden era has peaked and is now on a sharp decline. Things are going to pick back up later, but for now, we're heading down the
Vince is treading water.
16,000. I mean, talk about a big difference. Big difference. Wow.
So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I think they had just had the Super Bowl at the Coliseum, and the LA had paid for security for that. The war was still going on at that point. But they were not going to pay for security for WrestleMania, for WWF. They would have had to pay for it.
Oh, yeah. Vince was not going to be able to pay for all of that.
So a combination of factors led to a change to a much smaller venue.
Wow, what a big difference. Oof.
Yeah.
So the year is, I mean, did we talk about the tagline yet? So the tagline is
Superstars and Stripes forever.
Should have been Superstars and Squashes forever. 14
But
matches,
Vince,
6 squashes, I think.
Yeah. So Vince is writing patriotism very hard here, not only by having superstars and stripes, but also I guess the poster
right.
and even the thumbnail in the peacock has like Hulk Hogan running forward and holding a flag, like animated heart.
Cody had his own version of that as a T-shirt for WrestleMania 39.
Ooh.
Go look that up. The same thing. He's standing on a mountain with a big flag. The flag is exactly the same. He's in the exact same position. It can't just be a coincidence.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So the year is
1991.
1991. And like Doyle said, attendance was about 16,000.
Wow. Okay. And we get Willie Nelson doing, which I still don't see why it's not the regular the Stars and Stripes.
There's a reason, but I can't remember what that reason.
I know that they were pushing it because when we were in grammar school, we were doing the Pledge of Allegiance and America the Beautiful.
Right.
But I gotta see when because there's no like conclusive when we switched over from doing America the Beautiful to what we have now, the Star Spangled Banner.
I will tell you, when we were watching, Carlos shouted Willie, so he was really excited to see him.
Who isn't excited to see Willie Nelson?
A couple great things about Willie. He's probably not even the person on the most drugs in this show. Number one, a lot of druggies on this show.
Wow.
But Willie hit the merch stand hard. I mean, he's got a WrestleMania sweatshirt. He's got the cheapest looking toy belt you've ever seen. He's got the Hogan bandana. He's got the Brett glasses. He's working the gimmick, man.
You think Vince made him pay for all of that?
Surely.
Okay.
Although Willie's coming off having his famous tax issues, so I don't know if he would have had a spare dime to. In fact, that's probably why he's appearing at WrestleMania.
Right.
Owes the government quite a bit of money.
Mm-hmm. So once we get that, it was a nice rendition, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I was happy to see him. I thought he did a really great job.
It was way better than was it WrestleMania 5 when we got the
Queen Sherry?
No, we got the
was that Robert Goulet?
Robert Goulet, I think, was WrestleMania 6, but WrestleMania 5 is when they had that woman wrestler.
Yeah, wasn't it Queen Sherry?
No, it wasn't Queen Sherry. I forgot what her name is.
Rockin' Robin?
Rockin' Robin. There you go.
Jake's sister.
And then they're like, don't quit your day job.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yep.
Rockin' Robin.
Yeah, you're right.
As celebrities that we are introduced to kind of be our co-hosts, along with the interview talent Sean Mooney and Mean Gene, we have Regis Philbin, Marla Maples, Donald Trump's second wife and Tiffany Trump's mom, and rest in peace, Alice Trebek. Oh, and actually Regis, right?
Didn't he pass?
Yeah,
and Mean Gene.
Was it Mr.
And
Television?
a lot of people on this show.
There were so many celebrities this one.
Well, I mean, it's Los Angeles. If you can't get the celebrities to show up in Los Angeles, like Doyle said, there's still some that probably needed the money.
I didn't think about that. Wow. Okay.
And a little teaser for you for later in the show. I have met not one, not two, but 3 people that we're going to see on our TV screens here over the course.
I am so curious.
I can't wait to hear the stories.
I will reveal them as we get to them.
Okay.
Awesome. So the first match we get to start off WrestleMania is the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Versus the team with the Barbarian and Haku with Bobby the Brain Heenan. But before they come out, we get Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Not only to carry the American flag, but also to add some more color to the color commentary.
Right.
Well, at least we didn't have to watch him wrestle.
Yeah, and
I shouldn't say anything bad about Hacksaw. He did a cameo from a friend of mine earlier this year.
But you've already paid for that. You can now trash him for that.
Can you?
You provided the goods. You provided the goods for his service, and the service has been performed.
But if he did you a solid,
it was
should
good.
we really be talking about him?
He did a good job.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't quit your day job. Commentary. Hacksaw. So no intros.
He replaces Jesse.
Yes, Jesse the Body Ventura has left us, and I think he has been my favorite color commentator. Now looking back in the 40+ years of watching wrestling, the only one that's kind of coming close as a color commentator, to me, just thinking about it, is it's Corey. Corey's like a little bit, yeah. Corey's kind of grown on me.
I love the brain.
Yeah, I mean, I love the brain before, but like listening to him, and then it's just him throwing off insults.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So it's like
I had almost had a heart attack at first because I was like, oh my god, is Hacksaw doing this whole show? Like I didn't.
Yeah, me too. I was like, no. Okay, so we get no intros for Bobby Breen and his team. We figure if he's such a vaunted manager in charge of the Heenan family, that he'd be able to get intros for his team.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right. So we get the rock
entrances though in this show.
Yeah,
that's right.
No music, so Vince is still keeping a tight purse or tight pocketbook when it comes to getting money for intros.
Okay. Yep.
So we got the Rockers, Maria, and the Barbarian Haku. I know you're a fan of Haku.
I am a fan of Haku.
Who are you rooting for?
Well, I'm rooting for the Rockers in this match.
Okay. Is it because Sean is getting bigger?
I really enjoy watching. I mean, I really enjoy watching the Barbarian and Haku work. Right. But the Rockers with their neon green tassels, their coordinated outfits, and synchronized moves is pretty cool. So they got me hooked for this match.
Hair too, man. Yeah. One's blonde and one's brunette, but they have the exact same haircut.
Yeah,
that's true.
Sadly, the last time we're going to see the Rockers.
Yes, it is.
Are you serious?
Well, yeah, spoiler alert, and we'll probably have to revisit. Well, I mean, we will revisit that one, but they don't have a WrestleMania match. But we can, if you want to, we can watch that whole feud and how it turns out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, Marty was good. Watching this back, what a shame. He really fucked himself over. He's got his own dark side of the ring episode.
Wow.
One of many subjects of Dark Side of the Rings episodes on this WrestleMania.
I'm super shocked because I thought they were pretty impressive and I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, and that's the thing with tag teams. Eventually one gets more popular than the other.
Right.
Either because they got more charisma.
Okay.
Or the character works a little bit more. But sometimes backstage things also help influence one more than the other. So
they're over as fuck here.
Yeah.
Both over. And most of Marty's undoing is his own fault. It's not really that he was so much less talented than Shawn Michaels, although you can say that 99% of other wrestlers.
Yeah, he'll get in his own head and start
get himself rested. And
wow.
Wake up, get drunk and wake up 6 states away, and he's one of those. He couldn't get out of his own way.
Oh wow.
Michael's hot tag is illegal, though.
Yeah,
because he's not holding the tag ropes, and both his feet aren't on the mat.
Yeah, there's a lot of ref issues.
Yes,
in especially in the main event.
Okay.
That I have questions about, but yeah, this is one of them. And
then when the Rockers win, Michaels immediately goes and high fives Vlad, the super fan. Did you notice that? He's the guy you see. He's the guy with the glasses.
Okay.
You see in the front row of every show of this era.
Wow. I think we heard about him during the last episode, right?
He was supposed to have a documentary about him, which they I believe has been produced, and then
they can't find a distributor.
Never done anything with it. Wow. No, it's going to be on Peacock. They even advertised it on Peacock, and then
maybe Vince wants more money for that.
Maybe.
he still has some things he's got to pay for.
I thought that double headbutt by Haku and the
Haku.
Barbarian was pretty awesome. I know I keep on saying haiku. I can't.
It's tough because it's like you're used to just saying haiku, and you've only been saying haku or been
like
trying to get used to the
Haku.
since WrestleMania 4.
But also, like, weird fun thing is that because I googled it to see, do we have a wrestling haiku, and there are actually wrestling haikus out there. So hey, maybe next time around I might say one to you.
Nice.
Haku generally regarded as one of the toughest people of all time.
Yes.
In real life.
Yeah, Mania has a very storied
history.
Story. It is a very
story.
A very historical story.
He has a very good. He has a very He has a very strong reputation in locker rooms. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Keyword strong.
Tell me more. I'm so curious. What was happening in that locker room?
Oh, there's just all kinds of fights of Haku, all kinds of stories of Haku getting in bar fights and taking on 8 Marines at the same time.
Oh, wow. Legend.
Remember back in those days too, people, if these guys went into a local bar, they were getting fucked with by the, they're like, oh, you're a fake wrestler, you're not so tough. And kayfabe was still sort of a thing. Right. So they needed to prove that they actually, these guys were getting in fights all the time. The Rockers famously got in a really bad fight at some point. Or it might have been in post-rock. It might have just been Sean post-Rockers. I can't really remember.
That reminds me of the story from the Gladiators too. They had the same situation.
The American Gladiators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where people are trying to get rowdy with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the Rockers win, but I wasn't happy with it. Were you happy with it?
Why weren't you happy?
I just wasn't happy with the way that Haku went out.
Oh, so you were just sad that Haku had to take the loss, is what you're saying.
I mean, that's it.
He gets the loss technically, and I mean, as far as everything is concerned, like Doyle has pointed out, the Rockers are hot when it comes to having a hot team.
Mm-hmm.
People who are selling kind of merch. I don't remember seeing like Rockers shirts, but they probably were selling like the tassels or whatever they were running down with. Knowing Vince,
love them tassels.
So they were making him money. So Vince is, I guess, starting to see that maybe he should be pushing these guys, and he puts them over some guys who have had the tag belts in the past.
Okay.
And some guys who have a history of being tough guys like Haku and the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be a win that kind of elevates this tag team, especially if you're pinning Haku, because eventually, if Haku doesn't get you in the ring, he'll get you somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah, but we didn't know any of that then. We didn't know this guy was really
No, we didn't, because there weren't like accessible ways of getting rumors or what we call it, dirt sheets on them.
Chismecitas, little gossip.
Yeah, little gossip from the road.
Wow.
All right. Second match, we have Texas Tornado, which his actual name is Kerry Von Erich from the Von Erichs down in was it Stampede?
World
Class Championship Wrestling. This is the one that Raymond and Nate were talking about, where it's all about primarily in Texas.
Yeah.
And this whole family
training.
Pretty much training, but they pretty much held this whole territory with the World Class Championship Wrestling. So they actually are making a movie that has the Von Erichs in there, and I can't remember that guy's name.
It's the kid from the Bear. It's got
it's got the kid from Zac Efron. That's the one I was thinking of that I couldn't remember, because he's primarily, I believe he's playing Kerry.
Wow.
When
is that coming out? Because
it should be coming out on Christmas, unless the strike isn't over and they want the stars to promote the movies, and the stars won't promote the movies while their strike is still going on.
That's right. Support that strike.
Yeah. Up until this point, Kerry Von Erich is known as the modern day warrior. So I think they changed it to Texas Tornado because Vince wants something he can own. But at this point, you've got an Ultimate Warrior, you've got Road Warriors. Now you're going to have a modern day warrior. Too many warriors.
That's true.
But sometimes I feel like there's not enough warriors.
What's that?
Sometimes I feel like there's not enough warriors.
Texas Tornado is a pretty shitty nickname.
Yeah, but I guess
call him Kerry Von Erich, so I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand why they just. But like we said, that's probably just Vince trying to hold on to some trademarks so he can make some money off of Kerry.
I know that they're like a wrestling dynasty, but the Von Erichs remind me of like either dancing or like ice skating. I don't know why.
Oh, so I thought you were gonna say
that's
something.
Not at all their origin story.
I thought you were gonna say there was like something like Marvel related. It reminds me of Baron Von Erich. Oof. Or something along those lines. So, okay.
Yeah.
So we have him versus Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Right.
Maria, were you rooting for the Texas Tornado, or were you finally gonna start rooting for Dino Bravo?
Well, I'm rooting. Who would you guess?
It would have to be Kerry Von Erich if you. I mean, I haven't heard you actually be kind of in awe of Dino Bravo at all since we've seen him. So, Kerry Von Erich or Dino Bravo? I mean, I like to think that I know my wife a little bit, so I'll have to say with Kerry Von Erich.
This is, like you said, well, this is my first introduction to the Texas Tornado.
Don't get too attached.
Yeah. And I'm rooting for him and his awesome boots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I see the fleur-de-lis on Dino Bravo.
Yeah, he said that since he's been in the inside of a WrestleMania ring.
Is he French or
he's French Canadian? Yeah, from Montreal, Quebec.
And there is a lady with a sparkle in her eye. And that's me too. So yeah. So what did you guys think?
This is a short match, and pretty much this is a match that Dino Bravo is, he's an established guy, so he's got to get the new guy over because Vince is paying him good money, and that's pretty much what Dino does. Right. He gets his iron claw on him, and then he does his spinning tornado clothesline, and 1, 2, 3 pin and win.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes and 11 seconds, but it felt a lot longer than that.
Yeah, like I see these times, and I'm like, this, like, before I would just time it myself, and I'm like, okay, they've been coming through, but like the way I am experiencing the time of the match unfolding, and the time when I see it like typed out, I'm like, yeah, this doesn't seem like 3 minutes, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a dark side subject versus dark side subject, unfortunately. Neither of these guys are going to be with us much longer.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, I mean, if we can go ahead and you want to know, unfortunately, this is 1991.
Okay.
So what leads us here with here is that in the summer of 1992, Kerry, wait here.
Kerry's already lost.
There's a motorcycle accident where he loses his foot, right?
He only has one foot.
Yeah.
Wow. He's got a prosthetic foot.
Yeah, he's got
nobody knew about it.
He suffered an amputation after a motorcycle accident he had in 1986. This is like me reading it right now. I apologize for those who may be watching.
Or listening.
So he becomes addicted to painkillers and a couple of things here, and then eventually can't stand it anymore after his leg gets amputated.
Wow, that is tragic.
And in February 18th of 1993, he decides to take the easy way out. And
is it the easy way out, though? I mean,
depending on how much pain he's in,
right.
and how much of a depression he is, because if you look at him, he was part of a promotion here with his family, and they were probably like on top of the world and making good money.
Problem child.
He was a problem child. Wow.
He was in the
No,
movie.
he was in the movie Problem
Oh,
Child.
he was in that.
Yes.
There's a movie called Problem Child.
Yeah, it's John Ritter, and I can't remember
Ugly little redhead
his
kid.
wife. That's in there.
I don't think I've ever watched that movie
You never
before with John Ritter.
Yeah, they adopt a child because they can't have a child.
Wait, is that the one with Macaulay Culkin?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then
that movie scares me.
It's a little redhead who likes to.
Where he's evil.
Yes, he's pretty much evil, and it has. I don't remember if it has Gilbert Gottfried in the first one.
He plays the head of the orphanage, I believe.
What? That sounds crazy.
But I know Gilbert's in there, and I think he makes an
Kramer's in it.
Kramer, the
even
guy
weirder.
From Seinfeld.
What?
Yeah, the guy from Seinfeld.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay.
If you want to rewatch it, I haven't watched it since like I was very, very young, but I have good memories of that movie and I enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah, let's watch it.
Carrie, unfortunately, wasn't the only Von Erich to end his own life either, which is a super, super tragic.
Yeah, which makes me question why they put that release date to happen on Christmas.
Yeah,
for that movie.
It's not going to be a feel-good movie.
No, so.
Dino Bravo also would be dead at the end of a gun within 2 years of this match, but he was mixed up with organized crime and the smuggling of cigarettes from Native American reservations to I don't know. I don't really understand this whole cigarette tax scheme he had going, but he ends up shot dead in his living room under mysterious circumstances that are never quite
solved.
Never quite solved.
So
yeah, this is fun.
Getting back to
if you're still listening or watching,
we're moving on to the third match after we've gone through a very depressing side quest.
Were we wrapping up with the third match? Because
no, we're just starting the third match. I mean, no, technically you're saying that this is the third match,
right?
But televised, this is the second match. So now we're going to the third match, televised.
Okay.
Which is the British Bulldog versus the Warlord with Slick in his corner.
Okay.
This is the first time he's the British Bulldog also.
Yes.
Dynamite has just left.
The Dynamite Kid has left. Davey Boy or Baby Blue Smith, as my wife had called him, is now wrestling on his own. And the only way I guess they wanted to continue having that moniker for him is instead of calling Davey Boy, to just call him the British Bulldog because that's what he's known for, and it makes it easier for the people to still connect with him.
Okay.
This match goes 8 minutes and 15 seconds. This match goes a little long for me, but what did you think, Maria? Were you pro Baby Blue still, or did the Warlord change your mind?
Well, in the beginning, I'm rooting for the British Bulldog, but I'm not rooting for, I don't know, like Warlord is huge and his wrestling moves are impressive. He's dropping bows on bows. So, I mean, I was kind of a fan of him. He was pretty cool in this match.
Yeah, and that's good because, you're paying more attention to, the commitment that some of these guys have done. And that's the whole thing of the psychology. You have someone that's supposed to be big and imposing.
Right.
And you want, Vince wants us to buy into Davey Boy being also the same type of powerhouse. And also someone that can be a hero that someone steps up for you and wins your heart. Doyle, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. If you liked the Bulldog and the Warlord wrestling each other, you would have loved 1992 because they wrestled every fucking week, it seemed like. I mean, this match was brought to you by oxymethylone and methandrostolone and oxyandrolone. Steroids.
Yeah.
Wow.
Davey Boy is known to be a very heavy user of performance enhancing drugs.
Wow.
Yes. I forgot about the Warlord's pre-match look. He looked like the Phantom of the Opera had sex with the evil hockey team from Strange Brew. You ever see Strange Brew?
No, I've never seen that one.
Oh, you never heard of Strange Brew?
No.
1983 Canadian classic with Moranis, Go
Rick
watch.
Moranis?
Oh yeah.
Rick Moranis.
Is it?
These two brothers take over a brewery, and there's this evil hockey team, and it's really weird. But the evil
Very
hockey
Canadian, it sounds like to me.
The evil hockey team's pads look just like the Warlord shoulder pads, and he's got this Phantom of the Opera mask.
Wow,
it was a choice. It was a choice.
Yeah,
it seems like Warlord's one of 900 people to have the full Nelson challenge. Like that seems to have been a lot of guys' gimmicks.
Yeah, and
they trot it out every couple of years. Lashley had it. Chris Masters had it.
I think they try to make it work. Hercules had it to begin with.
Yeah,
and
Herc had
it. Maria, you need me to go, or do you like the way this match finished?
Well, I mean, we witnessed the British Bulldog's comeback in this match, and I'm not here for that.
You're not?
No, Warlord is really helping him look good.
Yeah, I mean that's what the Warlord's getting paid to do. You know, he gets let's see here. Davey Boy powers out by flexing, and the Warlord tries to slam him, but Davey Boy reverses it and performs his running power slam, which is his finisher. What do you think about the running power slam?
I thought it was pretty cool. Also, I mean, if you plan on rewatching this match is definitely worth a rewatch. I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay, so would you say it was one of your favorite matches?
Yes, it was. Doyle, what do you think?
2 rest holds in 8 minutes. This is better than I thought it was going to be. This is like what we nowadays would call big meaty men slapping meat. But I mean, I actually like the Bulldog quite a bit, but Warlord stunk.
With this one, I would have expected it to be. I think they probably could have cut a couple of minutes off of this, and you still be able to get like a really good pop or a really good like match out of it, instead of going like Doyle mentioned, like the 2 rest holds like in 8 minutes. That the guys are getting winded, that they need to hold on to each other. Is what he's pretty much pointing out.
If you can't get through an 8-minute match, you should have a 5 or 4-minute match.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
That's the whole thing that Doyle was trying to get to. But Bulldog gets his win. The Warlord does his thing and gets him over.
Okay.
The next match we have is for the tag team championship titles.
Nasty Boys.
Yeah, making the WrestleMania debut, the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs with Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart versus the Hart Foundation. Yeah, well, I mean, he needs to sell that. He's
bikers, maybe.
Yeah, he's in there with the bikers, and he's ready to get in that little sidecar that one of them might have for him.
Yes, that would be funny to see.
Yeah. We have the Hart Foundation, Brett and Jim the Anvil Neidhart still going strong together
for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and well, this is their 5th WrestleMania in a row as a tag team. I think 5 years as a tag team is more than enough, unless you're going to be one of those career tag teams, which we saw a lot in the 80s, where none of them were able to break out, and if they did try to break them out, they both ended up sucking. So, you got to bring them back together and do, keep the money coming in as them as a tag team. So,
okay.
This match goes 12 minutes and 10 seconds.
Longer match.
It is a longer match. Here for you. There's a lot of double teaming and a lot of ref distractions. There is, I guess this is pretty much highlighting Brett breaking out as a solo star, because Brett gets like a little bit of a moment where he pulls off his trademark moves that we see later on. He pulls off his side Russian leg sweep, but they call it a neck breaker. Gorilla points out here.
A neck breaker.
Yeah, he's like, he just pulled off a neck breaker, and then I'm like, I think this ends up being that side Russian leg sweep, but we'll go on and move on from there and not pick on Gorilla too much.
I will say I do like some of Gorilla's commentary.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he was a great what is that called? Technical or play-by-play announcer. Yeah, there you go. He's I think the only one that is I think I'm is kind of like, if we're going with WWE, we would have to say that Michael Cole has grown. I mean, he's only been doing that for like 20 plus years.
Okay.
So, but he's kind of like a good enough, but like he does have his moments, but also Gorilla has his moments too, where you kind of could pick on him. Excalibur.
I don't think they had Vince screaming at them most of the show in this day and age. Like
Yeah,
Michael Cole has had for a majority of his career.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
Yeah, because Vince gets. I think that's the beginning of when he starts losing to WCW, where he feels like, I need to take over. Nobody knows what they're doing. This is how I want the story told. This is how I want this guy to be promoted as, and blah blah blah. And Vince is, that's why they wear the headset, and Vince is always in their ear.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That's kind of sounds painful. Nobody likes a micromanager in wrestling or in real life.
No one likes to hear Vince's voice either, though.
No one likes to hear voices in their head either. No.
Things also start to go south after the steroids trial, when he can't start to pump these guys full of all this stuff that the Bulldog and Warlord are on. And that's why you see the Bretts and the Shawn Michaelses and the smaller, quicker, more athletic guys starting to rise to prominence.
Yeah, which is funny because
and the Warriors and the other people.
Brett gets Sean gets kind of big, so are we not to believe that he didn't have any type of performance?
I'm not saying he didn't, but he wasn't,
Well, I'm glad that Doyle said that, because I've never connected, I've never put those two correlations together. You have these big guys, and now they're leaner, and that's the reason.
Yeah,
someone goes to jail. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Hulk Hogan testifies against Vince, and that leads to a path where Vince doesn't really like Hulk Hogan, and leads to his departure.
I like that one of them was like, you think you're gonna crack the foundation, like the heart.
Oh yeah, the little interview that they had, to with Mean Gene to pump him, to sell the match more, the little event that they're having in there.
Foreign objects must have been much more dense in the past, because
they were American made, Doyle.
They seem to do so much more damage than they do now.
Mm-hmm.
One hit with a helmet, and it's But looking back at this now, I always wonder, why I understand why they needed to get the titles off of the Hart Foundation.
Yes.
Anvil is supposed to leave. He ends up not leaving, but Bret obviously needs to go off and be Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
But the Nasties have just come in. They've only been there a couple months. The more logical, knowing what I know now, more logical choice would have been the Rockers, because a couple months before this, the Rockers actually beat the Hart Foundation for the titles. But it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. It was supposed to be for Saturday night's main event, but the top rope breaks after the first fall, and then if you can go back and watch it, and there's no commentary. It's very interesting. You can hear them talking to each other, like, what the fuck, the rope, like, what the fuck are we gonna do? They're in a headlock forever, and so they end up just not ever showing it on TV. They never acknowledge it.
Wow.
So the Rockers actually defended the titles a couple times. They beat Power and Glory on a house show, I think, but the whole thing gets reversed. Anvil doesn't end up leaving, and of course they lose the titles here to the Nasty Boys, which just doesn't make a lot of sense. If you've seen one Nasty Boys match, you've seen them all. They do. I mean, they do.
It's mostly
Do I even need to ask you who you're rooting for?
I think we all know that Doyle was a Hart Foundation fan on this one.
I think so.
As probably for you, you were probably a Hart Foundation fan.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Hart Foundation, and I'm a fan of, at this time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, but I don't think he has the Hitman moniker right now. I think he's still Bret Hart. Does it?
I think he had it in the Battle Royal.
Okay.
Did you see that span to like a young Macaulay Culkin?
Oh yes.
I think
Funny you should
was
mention him because he's the first person I have met.
What? So that's one.
There's one.
Was Mila Kunis with him at the time?
No. This was probably about, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. I was working at this bar, and we had this upstairs that nothing really we didn't really do anything with. And next door was this pretty small little music venue, and occasionally we had like a deal with them that sometimes send bands over. They didn't have like a green room or whatever. They would sometimes use our upstairs as like a green room, if you will.
Okay.
And so, my boss tells me, we're doing that. They're going to use the upstairs tonight. I go, yeah, sure. What's it for? They go, some band called Pizza something or other. And I go, all right, great. Well, fucking here comes Macaulay Culkin. I wish I'd had the gumption to ask. I would have asked him about WrestleMania 7. I told
him, hey, in the future, I'm going to be in a podcast.
Macaulay actually makes another appearance at I want to say 23 or 25.
Yeah, he has I think 2 more.
And then he hosts the crowd again.
Doesn't he host the Monday Night Raw or like?
He might have. Yeah. He's a nice enough kid. I mean, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with him, or it was mostly I never saw a crowd for a show at that little music venue though, like there was for that one.
Wow.
There were like hundreds of people outside.
Any of his music? Have you heard?
No, I didn't even know he had a band.
I don't think they're around anymore.
Yeah, it probably would have been at the height of his popularity.
Yeah, they're
going into his
something about pizza.
Yeah. I tried to say if it was Pizza Slut, but it was not.
It was not Pizza Slut. It was like the Pizza Experience or something.
I'm curious. I guess we'll find out what your pizza is.
Was it cheese pizza?
They did not have any pizza that I saw. Maybe they threw it at the crowd, or the crowd threw it at them. I don't know.
Yeah, so this was actually one of my favorite matches.
Okay.
Just based on this has like a lot of heel psychology at work here. Besides the double teams, but the distractions, making the build up for like the baby face, either Brett or Jim,
right,
to get that hot tag, but also kind of work for it. And as a child, or maybe as someone who's really buying into the whole story that they're feeding you, it kind of like, oh, he had the tag, he almost got there. Oh, why did Brett come in? He tagged him, but now the ref didn't see it, so he's distracted. And then
it's a shame that they're so far away from tag team wrestling in the modern era. Because if two dipshits like the Nasty Boys can pull it off,
right?
Anybody can pull it off. It shouldn't be this hard to book competent tag team wrestling in 2023. But
yeah, I mean, like, who was booking like the tag teams before? Because before, like, they made this work.
Yeah,
they made the Nasty Boys look like someone very formidable, and even though they cheated, quote unquote, to get the titles,
right?
Not only because they do get the heart attack put on Knobs, but this is one of the questionable things about the ref. The ref, for some reason, actually decides to enforce that Brett's in the ring. He hasn't done it all the other times, but he's like, "Hey, I can't count this because you're in the ring. You need to get out."
Questionable refereeing will definitely be a theme of this program.
Yeah. So Sags gets the megaphone, hits Brett, hits Jim, and then Knobs rolls over for the 1-2-3 pin and win, and we have new tag team champions.
I thought the Nasty Boys really were working the ring though. So I mean, but that's from my perspective, just watching it, me being kind of new to wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we're here for. We're here for your perspective. We're here to give people who decide to get into wrestling late and give them some recommendations on some of these WrestleManias to see if there's anything that they can add to their watching portfolio and gain some knowledge and experience.
Yeah, for a minute.
How good Jimmy Hart was. I guess maybe because he was in the same time as the Brain, who I just idolized. But man, he was really good. He was always in the right spot, always in the right spots. He was
you don't see that now with any of the valets or the managers.
No, the managers managed. You know, like a couple of these matches, the heel will go out and talk to the manager, and the manager will like give them advice and stuff.
Right.
We kind of have valets still, but we don't really have any managers.
But even Sherry did a great job in like distracting like when she was with Macho at the time, distracting, and she does later on too, but it's more of a like after match type of thing. But distracting the ref when it needs to happen and getting involved when it's supposed to. I think the only one that I've seen recently to probably have success in doing that right now is Rhea.
Okay.
Ripley. She does manage to like find her spots and get involved.
She's a wrestler, though, you know.
Like, but it's still
Jimmy
like
Hart's
when she
even,
there's still wrestlers that you see that go out there to be part of the party to lead them into the ring, and it's like sometimes they don't know when to get involved or really don't add anything else to the match, and you're like, why did you come to the ring along with this person if you're not going to do anything?
Yeah. No. Jimmy Hart is going to be doing an appearance. Jimmy Hart and Marty Jannetty actually at the same time down the street from me next Friday.
What? That's awesome.
But I don't know if I want to spend $50 to meet Jimmy Hart and Marty Jannetty.
Okay.
No. Wow.
I would spend it for Jimmy Hart, but not for Marty.
So
yeah, I'd feel weird going, no, Marty, I don't need to meet you. I just
were you happy with the win?
Yeah, I told you this is my favorite match.
Okay.
Just because of the whole psychology, and they did what they needed to do. They got the belts off the Hart Foundation because Brett's time to shine, and you saw it in a little bit where he actually gets like his own little time to show off his moveset, and pretty much try to cement himself away from Jim.
Right. I thought Anvil did a great job. He wrecked him.
Yeah, and the Anvil does what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be like the muscle of the tag team.
Right.
And that's what he's supposed to do. He does what he's supposed to do.
He was great. He was great too. He was just another one of those guys that couldn't get out of his own way. He let some of the substance issues get to him. Shall we say?
I thought we were seeing the foundation being laid for a championship. It felt like those moves were concrete. I would definitely recommend, if you are listening or watching, that you rewatch this match.
So this is your second favorite match?
Two for me. Okay. Yes.
All right.
The next match we have here is Jake the Snake Roberts versus Rick the Model Martel in a blindfold match. The reason why it's a blindfold match, did you see it?
You just reminded me about this match. What did you think about it, Doyle?
When I was a kid, I loved it. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch this again. And I was like,
it didn't hit the same, huh? Which is funny for
especially because I never noticed that right before, and I don't know if you guys noticed it too, right before Jake puts the hood on, he puts his hand up in it, and you can see clear as day. You can see his hand through the so as an adult, I'm like, oh, of course, obviously they can see through the mask. Right?
Yeah, and that's why I love.
Right off the bat, you can tell that it's a gimmick mask.
Yeah, it's a blindfold match, but they put on those hoods.
Yeah.
Obviously, they need to see through those hoods, but who were you rooting for? Jake?
I am laughing because Doyle says that those were transparent, and I didn't realize that the hoods were transparent.
You didn't see him do it. Okay.
I'm rooting for Rick Martel in this
match. And this is why I start my Rick the Model Martel needs to get into the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't remember
why he's not.
Yeah.
Why?
He doesn't want to be.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's out of wrestling. He's done with it. He doesn't want anything to do with it. Unless something changes, you're never going to see him again.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, he's just over it.
Wow.
They've from what I hear, I mean, I'm not privy to these conversations.
Okay.
Thank you for, because
my understanding is that they've offered to him, and he's just not. He doesn't want anything to do with wrestling.
Well, he needs some type of recognition, because I don't think I hear the model talked enough, especially if they're seeing this match, because like Doyle pointed out, you do see that Jake puts his hand, and it's a little rough and grainy, but you
Mhm.
can still make out that there's a little bit of fingers that are shown.
Right.
And this is you know, a blindfold match, and they do a lot of great selling, especially the model.
Okay.
The crowd is absolutely hot for Jake. You know, there's a lot of pointing and a lot of crawling, especially by the model.
Mhm.
But as much as it's also hilarious to see these guys knowing that they can see through the hoods, but them pretending to miss each other, like when they whip each other towards the ropes. And the model's waiting to do that back body drop, and Jake just runs off into the turnbuckle. That was hilarious to me. And when the model finally gets a hold of Jake and he body slams him, and then he goes for an elbow drop, but Jake's not there, and and then when he goes out to the outside of the ring,
Right.
and he gets a chair, and he's just probing the air and jabbing at the air, hoping to get a hold of Jake. And then he doesn't get him. He
Mhm.
finally gets a hold of him. He tries to go for a big swing, and he hits the ring post.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
match, I mean, had to be one of the craziest gimmicks. Didn't I don't know. I mean, but didn't you all know that a snake has six senses? And they always do it better in the dark.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we have this match. Because the model blinds Jake the Snake with his cologne, or his
Arrogant.
arrogance.
His essence of arrogance. I thought from our previous guest Ray that he was just saying that. So that's actually a
Yeah,
thing.
that's the name of his exclusive made for him cologne line.
That
It's
is
called
hilarious.
Arrogance.
Well,
And he
upon a rewatch of this.
Oh no,
Did we get a freeze on Doyle?
we got a frozen Doyle.
We have a frozen Doyle. Doyle, come back.
Oh,
See you
We'll give
anymore.
him
Am I back?
I hear you, but we don't see you. But yeah, go ahead.
There you go. We see you now.
Yeah.
All right, so about this
Jake-
rewatch.
Oh, you're frozen again. At least it's not a bad freeze frame.
Yeah, it could have been worse. You could have been frozen like this.
You know how sometimes you get those funky freeze frames where you're like, what is happening? So while we're waiting for Doyle to get back.
Yeah, Maria, what did you think about this match? We get the DDT.
Yes.
He finally gets Jake finally gets a hold of him after some pointing and help from the audience.
So for those that are new to wrestling, DDT is,
I don't know what the letters DDT stand for.
Oh shit.
But this is
Can I make
when
up?
he grabs him in a headlock and then just drops him.
Okay.
If you give me a moment, I could probably look it
You'll
up.
look it up.
Yeah, we normally have our friends that are watching to give us some live views, and we dropped off on Doyle here.
Doyle, please come back soon.
Yeah, let's go ahead and adjust, and hopefully you can join us.
Yeah.
So
we're back.
As soon as Doyle comes back.
Perspective.
Yeah. So Maria.
Yes.
Was Rick the Model Martel still?
Yeah, I'm rooting for Rick Martel in this match. I mean, but let's be real. I know that you guys were little kids watching this. This match is tragic, and that I watched the whole thing and will never get that 8 minutes and 34 seconds of my time back. And I'm guessing they wanted the Damien experience, is that they were covered with bags for the duration of this match. And if anyone is a fan of Jake, we know that Damien gets carried in that sack. I think Doyle's good. He's back.
Yeah, he was just texting me saying that they have a storm. There we go. So we just found out that I had to look it up what the DDT stands for. Unless you happen
short drop and a rough landing.
Well, there's a lots of rumors of what the letter stood for, according to this Wikipedia. Damien's Death Trap, Damien's Death Touch, Damien's Dinner Time.
What? That is so random. I thought it would be something like super different. So DDT.
Yeah, so it's just pretty much that's it. It's just didn't have an actual like technical name to it. Unless Doyle managed to find something while he was away.
No, Jake always said DDT stood for a short fall and a hard landing. That's what DDT meant. But I think as I was trying to say,
it was about the arrogance.
He smashes the bottle of arrogance,
right.
And then he takes the snake out and lets the snake roll around in this stuff that just blinded him for months. Right? It's like, what the fuck, Jake?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake is one of my favorites of all time.
Okay.
He is cool.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really he didn't have a great body. He wasn't a technical master.
His body was awesome.
Like, it wasn't as cut as some of the wrestlers that we have, like Shawn Michaels and who was the other one here? Was it? I think the Barbarian.
Yeah,
had like a cut physique and everything like that, like physically fit. But I mean, he still had like at least a athletic, body and like not like a big like chunky guy like Dino Bravo.
Like one man gang. Or anything.
Yeah, he didn't have a body frame like Greg the Hammer Valentine, who my wife refers to as their chunky nugget. So.
But yeah, man, he did all the little things brilliantly. Like, he's an absolute master of ring psychology. So if anybody could pull off this kind of match, it's definitely him.
Yeah,
it's cool to see something different. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's kind of in the middle. But there's probably a reason we've never seen another one of these.
That's right.
I just think you just haven't got the workers to pull it off.
Maybe
because just thinking about it recently, I was telling my wife Maria the AEW All In pay-per-view or All Out pay-per-view where they had the strap match,
right?
And they had Bryan Danielson versus Ricky Starks for that with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and ringside. But that was one of the best strap matches I've seen in a while. I haven't seen one like that. I like they didn't have to touch all 4 turnbuckles in order to perform a pin at times.
Actually, I really want to watch that match. I don't know. Did you have a chance to catch it, Doyle? Or
I did. Yeah.
Did you? What did you think about it? Were you happy to see? Yeah.
Yeah. I like Ricky. Ricky's good.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, we'll look into getting a hold of that for you.
So we got to see Marla Maples for a little bit. I don't know a lot about her, but she looked like fun. So
she did. I don't know
why. A good time.
I don't know how she ended up with Trump.
That's what I said. Maybe because she was a lot of fun. It seemed pretty. I was like, what? She looks like she was a lot of fun though.
They're not married here yet, but
oh really?
No,
he's already cheated on his first wife with her.
Yeah, that was a hot mess.
Yes. So that leads us to our next match. Yeah, The Undertaker making his WrestleMania debut with Paul Bearer, his manager, versus Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Yeah. Oh, Maria?
Yes, that's me.
Were you rooting for The Undertaker or were you still Team Superfly?
I mean, I just have to ask you guys, when we see The Undertaker, did you see the kids' faces in the audience? I mean, it was pretty awesome. Those
like
kids,
this?
Yeah. The kids looked startled. They were like super surprised. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
And they're like, hey, we've never seen a very white and pale person before walking around.
I mean,
never seen a Wild West mortician pretend to be a zombie before.
He looked cool and their faces were just priceless. So they were like, I thought it was pretty cool. I'm rooting for The Undertaker.
Okay.
And what was that move? A flying hit your lung? Because some of those moves were just like super powerful. What did you think?
Me, I thought it was a pretty good match. It was not The Undertaker's first match in WWE. He did make his WWE debut in the previous year in Survivor Series.
Right.
So,
I remember watching that on the scramble, so I could hear it fine, but you couldn't see it. And it was
you just imagined everything happening. Wow.
Basically, who's the $1 Million Man's mystery partner going to be? And then hearing the commentary, but not being able to see it. I'm like, what does this guy look like? I can't believe it. Yeah.
I like that little Doyle is.
WCW. I remember.
I was like, I like that little Doyle is like watching wrestling on a scramble, but if you know, you know. One of these shows are on a scramble.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get into teenage years of Doyle and scramble TV, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a quick.
Only 26 here.
Huh?
Undertaker's only 26 years
old.
old.
Oh, wow.
Way. Are you serious?
Crazy.
That's
it's amazing
incredible.
it's amazing how he's going to evolve, and you're going to get to watch this guy and watch Undertaker at WrestleMania matches become an event unto themselves.
Oh yeah.
All the way until
37.
Was it 37? His last one?
26.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be right. I mean, he's not on all of them. He's injured a couple times, but
no. But I'm just sounding like no. It had to be 38. Wasn't 38? No. Was 38 the canceled Rona one in Tampa Bay?
Oh really?
And then they do the. I'll look that up. But where we're going, Maria, this match goes 4 minutes 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Was you like the outcome here?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Snuka fly out of the ring, and he came back with a vengeance. And that finishing move, what was it called? The Tombstone
Pile Driver.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good match. What did you think, Doyle?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically a squash. Snuka is a huge name from before, from before Hulkamania. Right. But he's kind of wrapping stuff up here. He's going to go on to become a Dark Side of the Ring subject, and he becomes the 0 in 1 and 0. And if you don't know what that means, I'm not going to tell you.
Ooh. So Doyle, when you say squash, you're not talking about the vegetable?
No, he's not talking about the vegetable. It's just pretty much he's there. The Superfly is there to do the job, which is to make the Undertaker look good and to put the guy over, which means to make him look good for the audience. Okay. And I
would say 6 of the 14 matches on this card are squash matches.
Squashes. Yeah, I was curious. I'm like, what is a squash match? Wait, but isn't there also squash where you play with like a racket or something like that?
Yeah, there's that type of indoor tennis thing called squash.
Squash.
Yeah.
I think we got to freeze up by Doyle again. So should we talk about match?
Oh yeah, so you were happy with the Undertaker debut, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Your first introduction to him.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite match. I've had 2 favorite matches so far. What did you think about this match?
Yeah, I thought it was like how Doyle pointed out. It's one of those squash matches, and it's just meant to continue building the legacy of the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And we're go ahead and
super close. Okay, until Doyle comes back.
Yeah, Doyle, I seen him figure that out. We'll go ahead and move on to he is, and we'll go ahead and move on there.
It's all good. Yeah, I mean, we're live. Technical difficulties. It happens.
So with this one, leads us to our next match here on the card, which is the career-ending match between the Ultimate Warrior versus the Macho Man Randy Savage with Sherry in his corner.
Mm-hmm.
This match goes 20 minutes and 47 seconds.
Right.
And Maria, you are a fan of the Ultimate Warrior. And you are also a fan of the Macho Man.
Also a fan of tassels.
Macho King.
Macho King.
Oh, the Macho King. Excuse me, Doyle.
So I was going to ask you guys. So, I mean, is this legit a retirement match because Savage lost and he was forced to retire? Or is this just a gimmick for this match?
Well, before we answer that,
okay, is that
you let me know who were you rooting for?
Who was I rooting for?
Yeah.
I mean, I was rooting for Macho Man.
I mean, don't question it. You know your feelings. Were you rooting for the Macho Man? Were you hoping that the Macho Man still earned a paycheck from Titan Sports Worldwide?
I mean, okay, let me tell you. So, first of all, I see Elizabeth just sitting in the audience, all sad, looking super cute with her sweater and her stars.
They made her look like a regular person in the audience, didn't they?
No offense, but Queen Sherry is no Elizabeth.
How dare you?
I don't know how you guys
Hot
feel.
take.
Like I said, Macho Man's outfit is stunning, and this is hard because I am a fan of both, as you know. I'm looking at the Ultimate Warrior in his Technicolor Dreamcoat, but I'm really rooting for Macho. So
Okay.
yeah.
So we get it here.
I also can't believe that Sherry got knocked out. I mean, were you guys surprised? Because I feel like I haven't really seen anything like that in like recent wrestling.
About someone getting knocked out?
Well, you know, Sherry getting knocked out. What did you think?
Well, Sherry was never afraid to take a bump.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Right.
We kind of don't really do that much anymore. Male on female violence is kind of frowned upon. But Sherry was never afraid to mix it up.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what I was referring to in the last one, where I'm like, the valets have pretty much changed, which is funny because the valets now, some of them, if they want to continue like in the sports entertainment world, are told that they have to try to make money by actually getting in the ring and learning how to wrestle.
Wow.
But back in those days, you didn't have to do that. If you were a valet, yeah, you were like maybe taking a bump here and there or getting involved in a match,
right?
But you weren't forced. And I feel like that's something that maybe they could still work on trying to bring back, where you have the valets. Like you have Karrion Kross right now that has Scarlett, and she hardly, like takes any bumps. She does, she's primarily a valet, but they try to get her to wrestle, and that was very unsuccessful.
Well, I mean, even look at Rhea Ripley, right? I mean, you got her putting KO through the barricade.
Recently,
nobody ever touched, or men anyway, ever touch her. So yeah, we don't really do the male on female violence anymore, which is probably for the better.
For the best.
But it's funny you mentioned Elizabeth, because in this day and age, if they played it like that and you saw Elizabeth, obviously she's going to get in the ring, But back in 1991, oh my God, what's she doing here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and
why didn't they give her one of those 2 empty seats in the front row that have been empty this whole time? Like I feel like the WWF would never allow that in this day and age.
Right.
2 empty seats. We'll of course find out who's going to be there later.
Yeah, I mean the hijinks in this match is so good. I would definitely recommend watching this one because it was just so crazy.
This is also one of my favorite matches. So this is like my 3rd favorite match here, just because of the way this match unfolds, and unfortunately, Macho Man does lose here.
Okay,
but it's just funny when you contrast this match and compare it to the match that Hogan had with the Warrior at WrestleMania 6. They both go for 20 minutes, but this is more of the more compelling match. Here, even though the Warrior's still kind of like crazy and going, and being kind of a little bit of rough in the ring with the Macho Man,
right?
Macho Man is still able to work with him,
right?
And it doesn't look as disjointed as when Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior are going in their match at WrestleMania 6.
That's right.
Well, it just goes to the stewardship of Savage.
Oh yeah,
he notoriously laid out his matches like move for move for move for move to the annoyance of some people. WrestleMania 3 match with Ricky the Dragon is often considered one of the best matches of all time, and Steamboat was not happy to lay it out beat for beat for beat for beat for beat. He didn't like to work like that, but that's how Savage operated. Wow. And to the credit of this is one of my favorite matches of all time.
Oh wow!
So it's clearly my favorite match of the show, but this is one of my probably top 10 favorite matches of all time.
The Warrior versus Macho Man? Or are you talking about the
Warrior Macho Man match at WrestleMania 7?
What?
Yes. I liked it. Yeah, somebody mentioned the entrance, which is great. Anytime you get a bunch of jabronis involved in an entrance, usually 1 or 2 of them turns out to be somebody that later became, but I don't think that's the case here.
No, I was trying to pin that up, like see if I recognized anybody.
Yeah, you'll get to one of Cena's entrances is 100 John Cena's running out, and one of them is CM Punk. I think Becky Lynch was Becky and Charlotte were what the hell?
Weren't they on the Adam Cole? Oh,
Yeah,
not Adam
hell
Rose.
Yes, thank you. They were.
It was funny because
cool.
my wife had pointed out that someone reminded her of Adam Rose, and she
Way
did it.
Back then.
No,
The
this was
Honky
like
Tonk Man.
yeah, when he came out with Sherry, who at the time was going, but she wasn't the Sherry, she was Peggy Sue, and when he was had his little entourage, and she's like, the entourage reminds me of that one wrestler, and I was like, Adam Rose, and she's like, no, that's not his name. And I had to look it up. I'm like, yes, it was his name.
Yeah,
I am a fan of Adam Rose and his entourage. I think it's pretty cool. So
my wife was a Rosebud.
Is that what they're called?
What's that?
Is that what they're called? A Rosebud?
Yeah, that's what they were called. Yeah,
Shut
Rosebud.
up.
You ever see Dalton Castle? He wrestles for AEW sometimes.
I don't think she's seen Dalton Castle.
I think you would like Dalton Castle.
Yeah, I was disappointed when he came out for the over the budget battle royal. That didn't have like that male entourage that normally, his boys that normally form like his chair,
right?
And he sits on them. And they didn't have it. They only had like 2.
I guess I'm here for a spectacle because you're talking about 100 John Cena's. I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
wow.
That was. Yeah.
Somewhere in the 20s, you will.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that the tables turned and Sherry goes in on Macho. I was like, what?
Yeah. After the Macho Man takes out Elizabeth as part of his valet services after WrestleMania 5.
Right.
And takes on Sherry. The partnership comes to an end, unfortunately. Because Sherry's like, what am I going to do for a job now?
Oh.
Yes.
You know, you get fired. Who am I going to be a valet? Am I still a queen? You know, so she has to go off on Macho for not only losing the match, but possibly costing her job.
That's right, because Miss Elizabeth goes into the ring and she tosses Sherry off of him.
Yeah, she's not going to let anything happen to her man. She loves the Macho Man, and she saves him. And even though Macho's pushing her away, they eventually
I mean,
leave.
The crowd went wild when Macho and yeah, they loved it. So people were in the audience crying. Did you see
that you were crying? No, I didn't see that you were crying.
I love how apoplectic Bobby the Brain is during this. He's like, "This is disgusting."
Yeah.
I love it.
Why is Elizabeth coming down here? She doesn't work here.
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny. I mean, that's hilarious.
Why is she getting involved?
He also goes, "I'd rather have money than a skirt."
Oh, that's later on. Yeah.
But this is pretty serious because people were in the audience crying. So I mean, I was like, people are seriously crying. This is super emotional.
Yeah, like the writers were doing a great job in making this work.
What?
And making the audience buy it and react to it.
Yes. I was like, wow, it feels like we're watching.
As little me, I was very happy to see them reconcile, but I was also like, there's no more Macho Man. What am I going to do?
That's super cute.
By the way, Macho King.
Oh, sorry, sir. Macho King.
Is that his new moniker? Or
for this time?
Well, he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
I can't say I like that.
I met. He's the only person I met at a actual signing or whatever.
Is that your second person?
Yeah, Macho King, second person, and it was during this heel run. It was Macho King.
Okay.
So I stood in line for what seemed like months at the mall to meet Macho King. I think I was. I don't know. I think he was Macho King for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So it must have been between WrestleMania 5 and WrestleMania 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was 10. And so I had this autographed picture of Macho King. And then, a couple years later when junior high started and wrestling wasn't cool to like, that was trash. So I don't have it anymore.
No.
Tragedy. Oh, shoot.
But he was cool. I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with him. I spent more time with Macaulay Culkin. I spent even more time with the third person, but we'll get to him later.
Wow.
Also, it's a him.
Yeah. Warriors goofy fucking warrior bullshit is the only thing that keeps this from being a 5-star match, in my opinion. And with oh god, it's insufferable. At least we didn't have to listen to him go on some ridiculous diatribe before the match.
He got no promo time.
Oh Jesus.
Wow.
And him with but yeah, this, like I said, one of my favorite matches of all time.
That's cool.
So you asked if Macho really had to retire or not.
Yeah.
Would you like that answered?
Yes, I really do.
Okay. Well, he's going to be back by Survivor Series.
Okay.
And Warrior's going to get fired after SummerSlam. So this whole thing is for nothing, basically.
That's so crazy.
And that's one of the things that we were referencing, that that the wrestling rules sometimes are not very black and white.
Right. He stays around as a commentator for a while. And then they run this whole at SummerSlam this year. They do the match made in heaven and the match made in hell, which was Slaughter and his Stooges versus Hogan and the Warrior. Hogan gets fired. Warrior gets fired after that match. But the match made in heaven is Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, they go in the back, and the Undertaker and Jake are waiting for him at the reception, and a snake pops out of the wedding gift, which leads to this feud between Jake Roberts and Macho Man, where he ties Macho up in the ropes and he has a snake really biting on his arm. Like, it was pretty graphic for the time. It's probably still graphic for now, actually. But he eventually gets himself reinstated. Yeah, so but by the end of the year, Macho Man's back. You'll see him at WrestleMania 8.
Spoiler alert.
Warrior's out of there for a couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
So I won't tell you if he comes back or not.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of curious. I was like, let me add this because I was wondering. I'm like, I feel like he comes back after this and it's not like a final retirement. Also, I can deal with the loose ends as far as the storyline is concerned because I'm a fan of a multiverse. So, you know, I mean, I can roll with it.
Wrestling is certainly that, I think.
Yeah. It's
always Sherry's shoes must have weighed 100 pounds. I don't know how she walked around with them. One hit, he took out more guys with that shoe shot.
Yeah.
Just maybe like the heel. My theory that foreign objects were much more tough back in the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah.
This is the 90s, right? The 80s still haven't. The 80s don't really end till.
I mean, she probably bought them in the 80s.
Yes, right. Okay. So grandfathered it.
Yeah.
So does that take us to match 8?
I believe so.
Yeah.
This is I'm gonna butcher this, but we'll just go with Tenryu and Koji Katao versus Demolition.
Okay.
Which has Crush and Smash. Axe is no longer part of the Demolition. Still have Mr. Fuji. They have reconciled, and I guess bygones be bygones and get Mr. Fuji back as their manager. Now, this normally had Axe and Smash, but Axe at this time has decided to step away from wrestling. And
so who are you rooting for in this match?
I think I would have been rooting for Demolition.
Oh, okay.
If we're thinking back, because I have no idea who Tenryu or Koji Katao.
So you haven't seen them wrestle in any previous wrestling matches?
No, I mean
introduction period, or
I don't remember anything like that. They were part of the New Japan Wrestling.
Okay.
And this might have been something that maybe Vince did, kind of like, well, if I'm going to send Hulk Hogan there, you need to send me some of your big stars.
Right.
And that's how we got Tenryu and Koji Katao.
I mean, this match was fine for me. What did you think, Doyle?
Yeah, well, this is when they had a partnership with some Japanese promotion. There's a lot of this is where Hogan goes over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tenryu and Katao are the faces, but who the hell's ever heard of them?
Yeah.
Demolition's about done. This is the last time we're going to see Demolition. Crush is fucking horrible as a single. They're going to give him this goofy Hawaiian gimmick, which you're going to see. Smash is going to become the Repo Man when you see him. Tenryu is like a kind of a legend in Japan. He's probably like on a lot of people's like top 10 lists. He's probably number one on somebody's list, but
Wow.
like pretty huge Japanese wrestler. Katao is you know about Katao and Earthquake?
No.
Okay.
No.
About a week later in Japan, Katao and they're sending talent back and forth to each other. So Earthquake's wrestling Katao in Japan. For this little promotion called SWS, Super World of Sports. So Katao stops selling Earthquake's offense. He's openly stalling the match. Then he tries to gouge out Earthquake's eyes.
What?
You can watch this. It's all on YouTube. He kicks the ref, gets DQ'd. Then he gets on the mic, and in Japanese, is like, wrestling is fake. This is all bullshit. There's no way this fat American asshole would be able to beat me in anything. Like, so obviously he gets fired. But it was such a weird decision. I mean, Demolition's on the way out.
Right.
But it's just such a weird decision to have these team that no one's ever heard of win a WrestleMania match against Demolition. Like,
talk about random.
And then no one tells Regis that these guys can't talk English. They try to give them some promotion time. And they're not really giving anything for Regis to work with.
Yes. Well, he had a little bit of light racism to work with. So.
Yeah. That's true. The commentary
and some of the
really
jokes
terrible.
Some of the jokes just make no sense if you don't know. Like he says Columbia Pictures. Sony bought Columbia Pictures in 1989.
Yeah, I was wondering where that came from. I was like
it was probably a pretty obscure reference then. And now
only Regis knew the back.
I googled Columbia Pictures Japan, and I'm like, oh, Sony bought them. That's what like.
Oh,
it's like Jesus Christ, Regis. I
think Gorilla was like, "Will you stop it already?"
Yeah,
yeah, he was done with that.
But yeah, go look at the match, the shoot match where he tries to rip Earthquake's eye out. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah, okay. Doyle. I'm like, I want to watch it because
she's like, I'm interested in eye gouging. Let's go ahead and watch this match.
It's a bad match, and it also follows one of the best matches of all time. So like, it's like a spot of death, right?
Yeah.
I think there's an intermission here.
Different from
cut out because they say welcome back to WrestleMania before.
Yeah, they probably gave people a bathroom break after that 20-minute match.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like, if anything, I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure there's an intermission that they kind of edited out.
What's a spot of death?
Did you say spotted death?
Well, it's
whenever you follow
when you follow on the card.
Oh, okay.
So when you follow like a super great match, the next match is always real tough because the audience is spent from the match before.
Yeah, and they've spent all of their emotion, all their clapping, all their energy for that one match.
Okay.
And then you have to follow it, and you're like, how the heck am I supposed to continue to perform?
Wow.
These guys either have gone to the bathroom, gone to buy merch, get snacks or whatever, because they've been in their seats for like 20 plus minutes.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that's why they called it that.
Yeah. So
okay, I'm learning something new.
And then the next one we have is the Big Boss Man.
Match 9.
Versus Mr. Perfect, who has Bobby the Brain Heenan. This is Mr. Perfect's Intercontinental Championship title defense match. This match goes 10 minutes and 46 seconds.
Okay.
Maria, I know you were a fan of the Boss Man before.
Right.
I don't remember if you were the Mr. Perfect fan. I know you are a fan.
I just have a comment. So when we're watching this, and so Bobby the Brain Heenan, which is your fave, Doyle, right?
Oh yeah.
And he was a commentator.
Yeah, he takes a break.
And now he is pulling double duty as commentator and manager.
Yeah.
So throwback to our last episode where semi-dry chicken host Wayne was talking about the importance of managers. So that was just me and my brain putting all that together when I was watching that. I was like, all right, this guy's pulling double duty.
He also makes some time for Rodney King jokes, which I don't know if they've aged really well.
I didn't hear him. I didn't hear those, but I thought it was super gross that Big Boss Man spit in on Mr. Perfect.
Yeah,
I was like, oh wow, that was like.
I mean, well,
super funky.
Mr. Perfect throws his he throws his towel at
that or the Confederate flag on his shirt.
Yeah.
You're right.
You imagine
That
the good
is-
guy wearing a Confederate flag today?
Yeah. Wouldn't
I mean, with this match, I guess, like I'm definitely rooting for Mr. Perfect. Not I guess.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I'm rooting for Mr.
Nice. You
Perfect.
finally came over to the right side. Mr. Perfect is doing a great job of putting over the Big Boss Man.
That's right.
Not only does he do some selling as far as like some of the clotheslines and punches that he goes up here, but he also when Andre the Giant gets involved here,
Oh,
a
yeah.
very slow Andre the Giant because
Yes.
he is nearing his time.
We know.
But
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
Mr. Perfect, he
is.
takes a punch and then he does like a somersault, and
Yeah.
these are like very, very good choreographed and like timed somersaults.
Yeah, I mean, he clocked Mr. Perfect. And
He
I thought
clocks
it was
them, but
hilarious. I
Mr.
was like,
Perfect
"Ooh."
does a great job in selling it by doing those somersaults. No one,
I mean, we also see Haku pop out. which is
yeah, at the end, because this match ends in a disqualification because of the interference by the Barbarian and Haku.
I feel like that was the best. That was like part of the best part of that match.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about this match.
I thought it was a very good match. It's not one of my favorite matches as much as I love seeing Andre
Mhm.
come out here. I think at this time I probably would have been rooting for Mr. Perfect.
Okay. We know you're a fan of Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean he was perfect.
Absolutely.
You did. They haven't showed. I have to show you. I have to go to YouTube and find the. There should be a compilation of his vignettes.
Okay.
But
where his
they were priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a TBD for everyone that's listening or hearing, and Maria watching that because I'm very curious.
Yeah. So I mean, they packaged them really good in those little shorts that they made to promote Mr. Perfect. So.
All right. So Doyle, how did you feel
he's
about this match? I mean, we had some icons.
I like both of these guys a lot. I love Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites of all time.
Okay.
Boss Man is super underrated. He was really good. I don't know why he never really rose past a mid carder. He had a heel run against Hogan, but that was the height of his career, really.
Wow.
He's only 28 here.
Wow.
Yeah, he looks older than 28.
I thought he was like more of a 38.
Yeah,
30.
right.
Am I wrong?
I love Lord Alfred Hayes on commentary.
Oh yes.
Lord Alfred Hayes. He calls the Savage Warrior match the most moving scene of all time.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's effusive praise. Yeah, I completely forgot about this match at all. It was kind of disappointing given my affinity for both of these guys. Yeah, Perfect really did sell his ass off. The finish really sucks. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know why they didn't just change the title. Boss Man was over as fuck. Like, Perfect had it for a long time. Perfect had a really long title reign.
Yeah, no honky tonk man, but yeah,
that's right.
Or no Gunther either, but yeah, I mean, Mr. Perfect was.
So Big Boss Man wins by disqualification.
Yeah, but he doesn't win the title, so the title did not change.
Yeah, you can tell.
Did he forget he was supposed to stick around and put Boss Man over? Because he just takes off.
Yeah,
Boss
Man
comes down the aisle to be like, "Hey, come celebrate with me."
Or maybe he just didn't want to do it.
He's like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Reds to go.
But he's not standing tall anymore. He's more hunched over, and he's just struggling to walk.
Can see it.
Going with the theme of people that would be dead in 2 years. Sadly, Andre would be dead in 2 years.
I know you guys have been talking about it, and I've seen. It was painful to see him walking off.
So the next match, if you're ready to move on, is Earthquake versus your Chunky Nugget, Greg the Hammer Valentine, who no longer has his hair dyed black.
That's right.
He's back to his platinum blonde hair.
Yes.
So it's safe to say that you were rooting for the Hammer?
Yeah, but I'm wondering, did you guys notice Harry Winkler, Lou Ferrigno?
Oh, yeah. I
and the one that shall not be named in the audience?
Yeah, well, they start off this, Sean Mooney gets down and he talks to Trump and he kisses his butt.
The one that shall not be named.
And he tells him,
That's right, Doyle.
He tells him he can't wait to be back in Atlantic City.
Let me simmer that pot.
It never happens.
Yeah.
Because they never made it back to Atlantic City.
I think he ends up going bankrupt like in 2 years
Yeah, of
and
course.
sells those casinos off.
I mean, I'm definitely a fan of Harry Winkler, so it's cool to see him
Yeah.
in the
I like Chuck
audience.
Norris comes
Yeah,
in.
Chuck
Yeah,
Norris.
Chuck
Dropping
Norris.
names. He's like Gorgeous
Yeah.
George, Antonio.
Yeah, he's like, I worked up with Hulk Hogan. I've done this.
We've been watching Harry Winkler and Barry. Have you seen that series?
I watched season 1, and then I felt like season 2 took forever, right? And I was going to go back and rewatch season 1, and I haven't done that yet. But now that the whole thing's over, it's
Oh
definitely
man,
on
that
my
was.
to-do
I mean,
list.
I predicted that ending when I told Maria, like, because we were speculating once we heard that
Oh,
it was
yeah.
season 3 was the end.
Mhm.
She's like, "How do you see it ending?" And I was like, "I can only see it ending one way."
Mhm.
And she's like, "No way." I don't want to say because you haven't watched it,
Yeah,
but
no
it was,
spoilers.
but it was.
Can I take a guess what happens? Does Greg the Hammer Valentine successfully apply the figure 4 leg lock? Is that how Barry ends?
Yes, he finally comes
like,
back. He finds Earthquake's grave, and
Okay,
he
so
digs
that
it
takes us
up, and that's
to
the only way you could perform the figure 4 on him.
takes us to match 10.
Wait, did we finish? We didn't finish this one.
We didn't?
No, we just talked about it, and we talked about the celebrities. We talked about Henry Winkler, but we did not go.
Talk about Earthquake.
We did not talk about how Earthquake pretty much destroys Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
After Greg is very adamant in trying to get the figure 4 on him, and that leads to him losing, unfortunately.
It's kind of a short match, 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Well, I think at this time, not only can Earthquake not go for too long, but also I don't think Greg was able to go for that long.
Oh wow.
And he's just there to put over Earthquake and to still make him look like he's an unstoppable force, which is why he's called Earthquake.
I'm also an unstoppable force.
So I mean, Greg does the job. He puts him over, and that's pretty much like Doyle said. This is a squash match.
Okay.
And that's it. Were you happy to see your Chunky Nugget lose?
Oh yeah. Oh well, I'm rooting for Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy,
you're rooting for the manager.
Maybe I'll go down to the block and get you an autograph.
Oh, please do it. Take a picture with him if you can. I mean, Earthquake really did his thing during this match with his stomping around.
Yeah. He threw his tantrum before he did his Earthquake.
He's like
teabag, as Wayne had pointed out last time.
I was like, okay.
But luckily, your Chunky Nugget was able to avoid the aftershocks.
I feel like he stomped on his chest. I was like, oh.
So, anything else we need to go? I think it was.
How old do you think Earthquake was?
How old was he?
I'm gonna say he was maybe like 32.
He was 28.
Oh,
isn't that crazy?
What?
Yeah, I loved Earthquake.
Did you?
He was a real life sumo wrestler. He was only like the third Caucasian ever
to gain that status.
Wow.
Yeah, and by all accounts was like just a wonderful, wonderful person. Yeah. As long as somebody was trying to gouge his eyes out. He was a really, really nice guy, supposedly.
Wow. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad he passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
He comes back. He's Earthquake for a while. He goes to WCW, and he's just ridiculous in WCW. They give him horrible gimmicks. Then he comes back as part of the oddities when they pop up again during the Attitude Era. You see them when you see the 90s. Guy. He's got a gold luchador mask and a South Park T-shirt on.
What?
He's a lot smaller, but it's Earthquake.
Wow. I'm like, I could do better.
Hammer hangs around, but he doesn't really do much. If you want to see some young Chunky Nugget, dog collar match with Roddy Piper from Starrcade '83.
What?
Greg the Hammer Valentine is a classic.
Okay. Wow.
Write that down.
You're like, write that down. We'll be right back.
Joking.
I was like, I don't have a pen anymore.
That's fine.
You want to see him in his prime. That's it.
Yep.
Wow.
Leads us to our next squash match. The Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, versus Power and Glory, Hercules and Paul Roma, accompanied out by Slick. This match lasts, it says 59 seconds, but I think it's just a little bit over. But
not even time enough for a bathroom break.
No. Maria, what did you think about Chicago's very own Legion of Doom.
What? Really?
/ Road Warriors.
Okay.
Making their WrestleMania debut.
I thought this match was okay. And if you're asking who I'm rooting for, Wild Guess, Power and Glory.
Really? Power and Glory. Knowing that the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom is from Chicago was not good enough to get you on their side. You were with Hercules, which is probably because we've been with Hercules for a while. You've been seeing his career progress for, I think, since WrestleMania 2.
I mean, y'all know I'm from Chicago. Chicago all day. I don't know if you ride that hard in Philly, but yeah. I mean, I was rooting.
I'm not from Philly. I'm just lived here.
Oh, where
he's
are you
a Bostonian.
Are you from Boston?
I can't tell from the accent.
No, I can't pick it up, and usually I'm pretty good with picking up accents.
I can turn it up for you if you prefer.
Oh, there we
go. He's making this audio very podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to go a little more non-specific mid-Atlantic. You know.
So when does your Bostonian accent slip in?
If I've been drinking or I'm fired up or both.
Wow.
So like tomorrow around 5:30, it'll probably be coming out.
Is that when the Patriots play?
Yeah, the Eagles. I'm gonna be sleeping on the couch all week.
Oh.
That's I mean, we're a fan. We've been to Boston. We love it. But we didn't have a chance to like really get into the neighborhoods and stuff like that. So do you go back to Boston often, or?
I haven't been in at least a decade.
Oh, okay.
But I have plans to go. The Phillies play up there next season, so I think we're gonna go see the Phillies.
Okay.
I haven't been to Fenway in forever. So.
Wow.
No, we haven't been there in about, I think, about 10 years too.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years. So what did you think about this? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I used to go up all the time, and then my parents retired and moved away. And then,
So what did you think about this super short?
I mean, it did what it's supposed to. Power and Glory are, a tag team that's been around. Okay. They've had good matches. They've held the belts. And they're brand, Road Warriors.
They never had the belts.
I thought they won once. No? Okay.
Oh, wow.
So thank you for correcting me. And
I was a big Power and Glory fan myself.
Oh, okay. It was
I cut the sleeves off of a sweatshirt. My mother damn near killed me.
Oh.
And look at you. You're taunting your mom now by just wearing a tank top. You're like, I'm gonna wear my shirts with no sleeves, mom. So.
No, she's untauntable now. She's in a little jar on the mantle.
Oh, my mom also has passed away.
Sorry.
The anniversary. Don't be sorry. My mom was awesome. Super loud. Said hello to everybody that she met. Had jokes for days, and was one of those people that's like, hey, take a picture, it'll last longer. So yeah, nothing but good. I have a lot of good memories. So thank you for talking about that. Yeah. So does that
unfortunately we don't get to see them do the Powerplex, which is still maybe my favorite tag team finishing move of all time.
What is a Powerplex?
That's
Hercules would do a suplex, superplex, so a suplex off the top rope, and Paul Roma would come down and do a frog splash on the guy.
Damn, I'm like, that sounds awesome.
We see it like
FTR does it, right?
Yeah, FTR does it, but they do it different. They call it the Shatter Machine.
The Shatter Machine?
No.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a weird name for it, though.
Something like that, but yeah. So this one is pretty much over. Like, they get into a scrum at the beginning, they get taken out, and they manage to get Roma to the turnbuckle.
Okay.
Animal throws Roma to the turnbuckle. He gets him it looks like an electric chair, but it's actually set up to their doomsday device, which is when he's up on the shoulders, which is normally like a move. It's called the electric chair because you normally drop back, and then Hawk comes with the clothesline, and that's a pin and a win.
Doomsday device.
Yeah, the doomsday device. Yeah.
Wow, some of these things sound like they should be part of a movie.
Oh yeah, that one. Not a lot of them like a lot of cool names. Like you have the Demolition with the decapitation, but they don't really mention it in some of these wrestling WrestleManias that we watch. Like some of these broadcasts, I don't hear them say the demolition, decapitation.
Okay.
They just
the Heart Foundation had the heart attack.
Yeah, the Heart Foundation had the heart attack, and
tag teams don't have finishes like that anymore.
No.
Wow, bring them back.
know,
Bring them
right?
back.
They need something like a double clothesline.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Like some of my favorite matches are tag team matches for sure. So does that take us to?
That takes us to
12? Supposedly this is such a squash because Roma's elbow was all padded up, if you can see. So apparently he supposedly could barely move his arm. So have a quick match. It was also probably because this is now hour 7 of this show. So we're probably
and the $1 Million Man still needs to go versus Virgil, which we have here, who has Roddy Piper in his corner. Right. This match goes for 7 minutes and 41 seconds. This is just pretty much a breakup. Virgil no longer wants to be in the service of the $1 Million Man because the $1 Million Man has been bullying him.
That's right.
And he's had enough. And Roddy Piper gets involved in helping Virgil stand up to the $1 Million Man.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, we now see that the Piper has injured himself due to a motorcycle accident,
right?
And comes out with a crutch. Maria, were you rooting for Virgil at all, or was your heart still with the multi-million-dollar man because of his $1 million haircut?
Back to the $1 Million Man for me.
Oh, okay.
Because we've seen the storyline building up until this match. So I was glad to see this match. And I was definitely looking forward to it. So I'm like, we've been seeing all the, like you said, taunting. He was being mean to Virgil. So, we saw $1 Million Man tussle with Roddy for a moment.
Yeah. So you've had enough. You were finally a woman of the people. And you're like, not everyone has a price, $1 Million Man. Stop bullying Virgil. Let him go and let him be his own man. You were done being in the pockets of millionaires, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good
for you.
But I don't know what you guys think. I think it could have been better. I thought it was just like, okay.
Well, it probably could have been better, but Virgil is not a very good wrestler.
No, is that what it was? I was like, oh, this match is long.
I mean, there's a lot of punches, a lot of strikes, and this is like the best that I've seen Virgil.
Okay.
Like Virgil has more matches, but he looks good because of the $1 Million Man.
Okay.
Ted is Ted DiBiase does a great job in his villain/heel psychology in this match. As much as it annoys me of him always leaving the ring and catching a breath, taking a moment to plan out a strategy, it was warranted in this match because even though it annoys me, everyone's wanting Virgil to get his hands on him, and this is one of the moments where it's good for him to avoid having so much time and having Virgil get his hands on him so much.
Then we got an unnecessary visit from Sherry, so that was kind of random. I know you're a fan, Doyle, but I was just like,
hey, Sherry needs to think about where her next paycheck is coming from. She has
to work.
Yeah, she's got to work. This is where Bobby got it right. You need the money and not the skirt.
Speaking of working, Roddy was really working the ring. I mean, he was really acting that injury out. So
yeah.
I mean, when the post match beatdown is the best part of the match.
Yeah,
usually not a great sign.
Yeah. I mean, when the match was finally over, I was like, okay. I mean, this match wasn't a favorite for me. I feel like you guys feel the same way about it. So
definitely.
They ended up having a pretty good match at SummerSlam that year, which is vastly superior to this one.
Good to hear.
Although it's still not great. I loved the $1 Million Man when I was a kid. Part of his gimmick was that every season they would say, "Oh, reside in the spring, residing in I think it was Palm Springs in the spring."
Yeah, and this one.
Summer was Hyannisport, Massachusetts, which is right by where my grandparents lived on the Cape, on Cape Cod. And I must have called every DiBiase in the phone book asking if Ted was there.
Wow.
I loved him. He was such a dickhead. It was great. Poor Virgil didn't even get entrance music.
No, he doesn't get entrance music. And Roddy comes out first. It's not like Virgil comes out and then Roddy.
Mm-hmm.
No, Roddy comes out.
I can't believe how much the crowd was into it, though. The crowd was
I mean, Virgil, they've also had enough of millionaires
Virgil,
pushing them around.
Is a rib on Dusty Rhodes. His real name is Virgil.
Yeah.
Someone had pointed the finish of this was fucking horrible again.
Yeah.
This is the fastest 10 count in WWF history, I think. Mm-hmm. Plus DiBiase gets up on the apron. That should end the count.
Yes, I have brought that up on previous matches where the ref normally breaks the 10 count if the guy makes it in the apron because it's assumed that he's going to get in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I think Ted lost another match like that, similar, where he's just on the apron and he still gets counted out. And I'm like, what the F? And no.
But the highlight of the match is definitely Roddy Piper throwing the crutch and hitting one of the refs in the nuts. That's always fun.
That's right.
Yeah, he doesn't need help. And then Virgil has to motivate him to get up.
So at the crunch
tell you a little story real quick. Okay. One night I had gotten a tattoo. This was 15 years ago. I went into some bar afterwards. Everybody wants to see it. And there's this older black guy sitting there. He wants to see it. So I show it to him and we're kind of talking, but I'm not really looking at him. And I finally do look at him and I go, you look just like this guy that used to be in the WWF. And he goes, yeah, but my name isn't Virgil. It's Mike. And so that was the night I had a couple beers with Virgil. And he was the third person.
That's awesome.
He was really nice. Virgil was great.
Yeah, I hear that he's a real nice guy. Like I seen him, I feel bad because he's been at the comic convention here, C2E2.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, if you ever want to have a good time, just Google Virgil stories.
Yeah,
there's some wacky ones.
I hear that, and I'm like, I feel so bad because I want to go talk to him, but
he's a super nice guy.
But I'm like, but it's Virgil, and it's like. It's like, what are you gonna tell people? Like your Virgil story?
Though. That's pretty cool.
I know it's too bad that it was pre-camera phone.
Smartphone.
But I feel like some of those times are like the best times, and I'm pretty I'm so happy that we grew up without like the smartphones and all that because we just had a good time. Yeah. You're just doing what you had to do.
And then you had stories to tell, and no one could call you a liar because you'd be like, well, I mean, what do you want me to do? I can't call you or I can't videotape it. You just gotta believe, just like all the Bill Murray stories where where he does his weird things and he's always telling people won't believe you.
That's a good one.
All right, and then the penultimate match we have here is the Mountie, which you would think is the first introduction to the Mountie, but it's not because he was one of the Rougeau brothers.
No way.
Jacques Rougeau.
He had a transition to that was his new moniker.
That was his new gimmick. With Jimmy the Heart.
Okay.
Mouth of the South versus old favorite Tito Santana.
Yes.
This match goes 1 minute and 21 seconds. Maria, I think it's safe to say that you were probably cheering for Tito in this one.
Cheering for Tito. I mean, Tito got the moves, and I'm not sure why this match was 1 minute 21. For me, it could have been longer, but you guys know.
I mean, it's pretty much because we're running here into the 3 hours of this pay-per-view.
Okay.
And guess who needs to get 20 minutes of match time at least? It's Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter because it's their main event.
Right.
So this had to be hurried up, and as Doyle's pointed out, it's technically a squash match.
Okay.
This is pretty much to be continued match because of the way it ends, you could say, where Tito starts off hot and he actually hits his finisher, the flying forearm. But the Mountie gets out of the ring before he can pin him, and it's pretty much a tug of war. Mountie gets in, he tries to get out, and goes for the ropes. And at that one time where the Mountie's scrounging, reaching for the ropes, Jimmy Hart gives him the cattle prod. Tito gets cattle prodded, and it's a 1-2-3 pin and win for the Mountie.
I mean, what a win. I'm like, that's a hell of a way to win a match. I'm not a fan of the win. I'm a fan of Tito Santana. So what did you think, Doyle?
I believe, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, the Mountie is the only person to win who got the jobber entrance.
What?
Yeah. But didn't he? I thought he had music.
He had music, but he didn't come down to the ring. He was.
Oh, it was just cut off. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Tito was over as fuck, huh?
Yeah, Tito is still hot. He's been there since the beginning. He's started this WrestleMania journey along with us.
Right. Yeah.
And Maria's been a fan of Tito since then. Hailing from an unknown city that Vince or somebody made up.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brain manages to get off a Mexican joke before the bell even rings. That's a little.
I heard that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and that's and my friend Raymond had brought up about a flying burrito, but we haven't heard anyone say it. I'm pretty sure he was certain that Jesse is the one that brought it up, but I remember Bobby saying it a lot more than Jesse, calling his flying forearm the flying burrito.
Chico, right?
Yeah, he'd call him Chico.
So does that take us to
the main event of main events? Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter, Turncoat, who is now with the Iraqis, and General Adnan. So
General Adnan just passed away.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Rest in peace to General Adnan.
He really was Iraqi. He apparently went to high school with Saddam Hussein.
Yes. He introduced professional wrestling to the nation of Iraq.
Wow.
But he was not happy with the regime, and he felt like he was scared for his life and whatnot. So I think by 1980, he's totally out of Iraq. Has nothing to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he of course broke into the to wrestling as a Native American character, Billy White Wolf.
I mean, but
we got an Iraqi guy. Let's make him a Native American. That's
the whole thing where I brought it up before, where it was more of based. Those gimmicks were pretty much given based on how you looked. Like how Moolah gave Leilani Kai her name. They're like, well, you look like you could be Asian if we just give you a specific island, or if we just give you a tan, so you'll be Leilani Kai.
A sign of the times.
Yeah. So but he did win the tag team championship with Strongbow.
He did.
For Vince's dad at the WWF. And he does have little stints here also in Vern Gagne's wrestling promotion too.
AWA, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And then he just comes and goes pretty much. And he actually wrestles Hulk Hogan a couple of weeks before this pay-per-view at the age of 52.
Wow.
General Adnan was. He doesn't look it. He looked like he could be maybe in his mid-40s, but I wouldn't have given him 52 at the time.
Especially considering Slaughter's 42 here. He looks like he's about 60.
Yeah.
And Hogan's only 38. And he looks like he's in his 50s also.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm just obsessed with how much older people
look. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a thing like that where they'll show you a picture of like at this time and what people look like now, and it's just, I'm like, I don't know what it is. Is it the moisturizer? Is it the way that we're dressed? But
I mean, at that point in time, you could probably say it's probably some of the substances that some of the like bigger, bulkier wrestlers were taking at the time.
Yeah, probably would help.
Also, the sun exposure, because I'm pretty sure Hulk Hogan was not going into a tanning bed to maintain that tan.
Oh, that tan. Yeah.
Just like I'm almost 20 years older than Undertaker was at WrestleMania 7.
Oh, it's just wow.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I think he looks older than I do now.
So I like that Slaughter's main tagline, or one of his lines, was Eddie's disease. I thought that was hilarious. And he was also pretty.
Yeah, he also said maggots a lot. Hey, maggot.
He was like 6'6" and 305 pounds.
Oh, okay. He looks like a very svelte 305 pounds. I'm kind of noticed that because I don't know if you got to watch our first episode But they mentioned that King Kong Bundy is 450 pounds, but it doesn't look like he's 450
Oh,
pounds.
it sure doesn't. He didn't look that big.
Yeah.
Also, it's like he had really good moves, so that man can move.
Who, King Kong or Sergeant Slaughter?
King Kong Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, wrestling heights and weights tend to be a little
exaggerated.
I'm just curious, did you all have a chance to get a Sergeant Slaughter figurine?
No, I did not get a lot of toys.
Yeah.
That I wanted. I got a lot of toys that I did not want.
Like all of us, I think.
So
I can tell you.
I mean,
the odd thing.
I wanted especially those twins, G.I. Joe characters that turn colors in the sun. I never got those, but those were cool. I think any G.I. Joes I might have gotten because I found them randomly on the street. So
what about you, Doyle?
Yeah, did I have a Sergeant Slaughter?
Yeah, did you have a Sergeant Slaughter? Did you? That's cool.
I had a William Perry G.I. Joe figure.
Oh, okay.
What?
I never knew that one was made.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, if you're listening or you're watching, and you also, like Doyle, had a Sergeant Slaughter figurine, leave a comment below for us.
Yeah. If you also owned the William Perry one,
I don't know.
Yeah, tell me how you got it and how you heard of it.
Right?
Oh, okay.
A lock bag in a box in my basement, probably.
Okay,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. You have any more tidbits, or are we good to proceed?
I mean, besides, I found out that he wasn't like really in the military, so that was kind of a surprise.
Well, yeah. Well, I was gonna say both these guys are kind of problematic,
right?
Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter has definitely been accused of having some uncommon valor or unearned valor, rather.
Yes,
Valor is a movie. Yeah, like, and it's one thing to fine. Anyone obviously can portray a military person in a film or whatever. Then obviously he's not, but he would apparently would go to these signings and tell war stories and all this stuff, which is complete bullshit.
Wow,
dude, you're just playing a character. Like,
yeah, he's selling the kayfabe. He's selling it to Marks. He's making sure that he's.
Did you ever get to see his animated series?
I thought he was just in G.I. Joe. I didn't know he had his own.
He was on G.I. Joe. Did he have
random animated series?
And I heard that he was in comic books. I mean, I grew up reading comic books, but I've never seen his comic book. So
okay,
yeah. So what did you guys think of the match?
I thought that it was okay. It wasn't like the best. It does what Hogan does what he's supposed to do. I mean, this is all built up for Hogan to win.
Right.
No one's gonna want a turncoat / Iraqi sympathizer to win, especially when we're starting the Gulf War and this crowd is chanting USA. I mean, can you imagine?
Gulf War is over at this point.
Okay.
But it just ended.
Yeah.
I thought the Hulk looked super cool in this match. I mean, I don't know what it was. It just his tan, his outfit, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had everything going for him. This is all. If they had booked this for Hogan to lose,
right?
I think the crowd would have rioted. I mean, even if it was like a cheap win, where like it was a DQ or a count out or anything like that, and that's one of the things I point out is that they did not want to have a disqualification win come into this, but they didn't say it was a no DQ match. But there's a lot of questionable things that happened that would have been a disqualification normally. Chairs are being used.
Right.
Hulk Hogan's being choked by an electrical cord. A flag is brought in, used, and then draped over Hulk Hogan. So you knew that this pretty much, even though it would have been, it appears like it would have been set up for like a villain to be winning with the odds stacked against Sergeant Slaughter. You would think Hulk Hogan was the villain, but
Hogan wrestled heel.
Yeah,
like he would unroll the tape and choke people out. Hogan was a heel. Like don't make any don't let anyone try to tell you he's a babyface.
Yeah, but he comes out with the I am a real American theme, and he has the American flag, and everyone's rooting for him. So of course, someone that has America on their side cannot lose.
America.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say a Twilight's last gleaming so angry. So that made me laugh. I mean,
I like how he rips his shirt during his promo, and then when he comes out, he's got another one on.
Huh?
Like
the magic of videotape.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to see Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
Another Marla Maples and Regis Philbin.
Whatever.
The Fink is probably the greatest ring announcer of all time. Samantha Irving may be hot on his heels. Yeah. But he says Alex Trebek is the co-host of Jeopardy.
Yes.
He's the co-host of Jeopardy. He's the fucking host.
He's the only host of Jeopardy.
He is the host.
No co-host. He is the host.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Maria.
Crazy. Like, Fink, what are you doing?
Team Pukamania or Team Turncoat?
I want to say I was a fan of Hulk during this match. Who were you a fan of?
I think I would have been like a fan of Hulk Hogan if I'm thinking back to my younger days. But in this one, yeah, I mean, this one, Sergeant Slaughter, does a very good job in getting Hulk Hogan over and doing his villain heelish psychology into this match. He pretty much carries Hulk Hogan in my eyes to getting the wear downs, getting the camel clutch on him, pretty much seeming like he's in control throughout the whole match. When he gains control after Hulk Hogan starts off hot, and just wearing him down and making you think that maybe there isn't a chance that Hulk Hogan's gonna win. And of course, Hulk Hogan, after getting blood spilled,
I was like, he's bleeding.
Super obvious blade job.
Yeah, they don't.
You can see him holding on to the thing before the horrible chair shot, which is
I didn't notice that.
When you very clearly see him giving one of those.
I did not catch that, so I guess I'm the mark during this match.
You're like, oh my god, that shot did it.
If you know to look for it, you see it. But if you're not looking for it, it's sometimes hard to notice.
Did you all catch that someone printed up Hulkamania on printer paper?
Yes. Oh my god, I have it. I wrote that down. Yes.
The perforated edges and the circles. I mean, if you know, because that's what our papers used to get printed on.
I think every birthday from 1985 to probably 1994 had one of those.
Yes. I was just like, wow. I mean, it's just part of watching these WrestleManias or revisiting them is just going back to that kind of like era and time and thinking about those things growing up, which has been really fun and really nostalgic. So, yeah.
So, were you happy with Hulkamania winning? Were you satisfied? This is match, like, yes, this was a good match.
I thought it was a good match. Marla hits the bell. Her hair looked gorgeous. It was really cool. I mean, that's what I noticed. That's what I took away from this match. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think it was just a standard match of Hogan getting put over and Sarge did the job and everyone goes happy because America won.
Yeah, I think I told you guys in the beginning that like some of these last matches with Hulk, I've been kind of disappointed. And the build-up has, just hasn't done it for me when I watch the match. I'm like kind of let down, but I thought this one was pretty solid.
I feel like it's kind of been going down for me, like revisiting these. Like if I'm thinking about like younger me, I was like still on the Hogan bandwagon.
Right.
But ever since he beat Macho, I kind of been noticing that it's like the mystique of Hulkamania has been wearing down.
Yeah. But, so Doyle, did this do it for you?
Well, I was actually expecting this to be terrible, and it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was better than I thought it was going to be.
That's the tagline.
Better than I thought.
Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. It was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I mean, it was a typical Hogan match. No shortage of goofy shit. We already went over some of them. Hogan goes up to the top rope. Like, of course that's not going to work. Like, what's he even thinking? Adnan distracts the referee while pinning him. Like, what the fuck was that about? Like,
why?
He puts Slaughter puts Hogan in the Boston Crab right next to the ropes.
And then it takes Hogan a while to reach over to the
ropes. Regis even says, "Why doesn't he just grab the ropes?" And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, that's it's like I said. It's like you could tell it's booked for Hogan to win. If you did not think that Hulk Hogan was gonna win this match,
you weren't
then I'm so sorry that you missed all the signs because
I mean they tried to play up the Slaughter might get DQ'd or countered out or whatever. It's like, yes, we get it. You don't need to tell us 400 times. Like we understand. But that okay, so of course Hulk wins. Hulk has to pose, you know.
Yeah.
And then at the very, very, very end, he wipes his bloody, sweaty head with the American flag.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
No.
It's like an incredibly bad maneuver. I don't know what.
People are probably like cringing.
Well, I mean, veterans would have been plenty of times.
So. When I see people hanging the flag and they flip it backwards, I'm like, are you in distress? Is everything okay? You know? So,
I mean, that's like a desecration.
Like, I'm really like, bad. Growing up with a grandpa that was in World War II and uncles that served and Carlos that served, that's just one of the things that I noticed. So, yeah, I agree with you, Doyle.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? It probably would have been bad if he did it with the Iraqi flag, honestly. But like, the fact that interesting thing. Speaking of flags, they made a big deal about Slaughter burning the Hogan shirt, right?
Yeah, when it was on a flagpole. Yeah.
That originally was pitched as the flag because in 1989 it became federally protected. The right to burn the flag became no longer was illegal.
Okay.
I think it was Jesse Ventura who said, "Why don't we have to burn the flag?" And luckily, cooler heads prevailed.
Yes.
Somebody said, "Well, maybe we shouldn't do that." So it's a good thing they didn't do that, probably.
Nope.
But
I agree with you. Can you?
Yeah, the original plan was for Slaughter to burn the American flag, which would have been.
All right. Well, wrapping up our podcast here. Maria.
Yes.
What were your favorite matches? I believe you had 2.
I should have.
I think you had the Rockers.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
The Rockers versus the Barbarian and Haku. And
also the British Bulldog and the Warlord.
British Bulldog and the Warlord.
By pinfall. It's a singles match, which usually I'm a fan of a tag team. But this time I'm a fan of a single.
Okay.
Instead of a duo and uno.
And did you have another one or is that it?
Espada. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doyle. Well, as I said, Warrior Savage is one of my favorite matches of all time. So that would certainly be one. I love the Rocker match. It was great. And the Hart Foundation match was great too. The Hearts and the Nasty.
The Nasty Hearts.
The Nasty
Hearts, yes.
Yes. Okay, so Doyle's a fan of the Rockers and the Macho Man and the Hart Foundation versus the Nasty Boys, just like I am. That is one of my favorite matches on this card, the Nasty Boys versus the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
Also, the Blindfold match between Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick the Model Martel.
Wow.
And the Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Macho Man Savage is one of my favorite matches.
Ultimate Duke.
Yeah. Wrapping this up, any other tidbits or anything we need to go over?
No, that's all I have.
All right.
Well, let me tell you guys that going forward, you have they finally figure out after this one that less is more. So for at least the next couple WrestleManias, you're not going to be looking at 14, 16 match cards, as I recall.
Right.
I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A lot of bloat.
Yeah.
They're going to start to realize, maybe we don't need all of that. So I think the cards get a little shorter for the next couple WrestleMania.
Yeah, the length of the pay-per-view is still 3 hours, 3 hours and a half.
Wow.
But the quantity of matches.
Yeah, they stop. They still to this day will occasionally have a squash, but certainly not 6.
What?
All right, Doyle, do you have anything else to plug before we end the day?
Yeah,
you just find me on PCW, usually before and after pay-per-views, and occasionally in between.
Awesome.
That's Podcast Championship Wrestling. You can follow them there on Twitter. I believe that's under Salmon Dried Chicken. They have a podcast that's available on all the audio outlets here, Spreaker, Apple, Spotify, just like our audio podcast, which I'll upload tomorrow. That'll be available also on the same type of network, Spreaker and Apple and Spotify.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and if you're watching or listening and you haven't thought about subscribing, subscribe. And if you want to hear more of this, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and if there's anything else you want Maria to review or check out before WrestleMania 8, let us know in the comments.
You guys are going to have to do a bonus episode of all the things people recommend that you go watch.
Yeah. I mean, Doyle, you mentioned some really good ones during this episode, and I'm like...
Yeah, I do for sure want her to watch that strap match, but we'll look into that other one that you mentioned with Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I want to see those eyes gouged.
Oh, yeah.
I'll send you that.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'll go ahead and see when we'll be able to get our episode up for WrestleMania 8. Follow us on Twitter, X at Revisiting Mania, on Instagram, and also on Revisiting a Mania. Our Facebook page, Revisiting the Mania, and on Threads, also Revisiting Mania. Thank you very much, and have a great night.
Till next time.
Guys. I'll see you in Philly.